The US dollar.
The US dollar.
The US dollar.
I'm Scott Miller, and this is Defending the Dollar. Human civilization has changed drastically over the last 400 years. Yet over that time, there have only been three primary international currencies: the Dutch guilder, the British pound, and the US dollar. Due to the self-reinforcing dynamic of network effects, the top currency tends to remain on top. But the last 400 years also show us that, no matter how entrenched they may appear, dominant international currencies can and do change. After all, there have been three primary currencies, not just one. In the 1700s, economic mismanagement by the Dutch weakened the guilder, just as the Industrial Revolution began to accelerate economic growth in Great Britain. 2 centuries later, financial crisis in the United Kingdom made the pound less attractive to investors, while growth in the United States drove adoption of the dollar. Then World War II exhausted the British economy and the pound, while the dollar and the US, the only industrial economy not destroyed by war, achieved primacy. For both transitions, vulnerabilities in the dominant currency, along with economic and technological trends, slowly opened the door for an alternative until a major event incited the full shift. In Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises, a character describes going bankrupt in the same way: gradually, then suddenly. Let's apply this idea to dollar dominance. Which actions appear minor today, but could disrupt the dollar's primacy in the future? Certainly, some relate to financial innovation. New digital payment networks could allow countries to efficiently exchange their local currencies directly, eliminating the need for dollars. Even small improvements could have a tremendous impact. In the energy trade, for instance, margins are so small that a tiny reduction in costs could motivate a switch from dollars to another currency. And digital versions of fiat currencies, known as central bank digital currencies, could also boost transaction efficiency and mitigate some of the issues holding back competitors today. Over 130 countries are exploring central bank digital currencies, while 3 have already launched theirs. If the United States fails to adapt and innovate, competitors could employ new technologies to boost their own currencies and undermine dollar dominance. Another potential factor is U.S. fiscal policy and exploding debt levels. In 2023 alone, the United States spent over $650 billion on interest payments on its debt, and fiscal deficits show no sign of slowing. By 2034, interest payments are projected to more than double, exceeding $1.5 trillion annually. There may come a point when massive U.S. debts undermine the dollar's credibility as a store of value, as investors lose confidence that debts will be repaid. Concern over this very issue prompted Fitch Ratings, one of the big 3 credit rating agencies, to downgrade the United States' credit rating in 2023. The downgrade itself had minimal market impact. Markets had already incorporated this information into asset prices. But it's a warning that soaring U.S. debt levels will likely become a bigger burden down the road. One last factor to consider is the United States' continued reliance on financial sanctions. Remember, dollars are useful because a lot of people can and do use them. By their very nature, financial sanctions restrict who can use the dollar, thereby undermining its utility. In some cases, this is an acceptable trade-off. Drug traffickers shouldn't be able to use U.S. dollars to finance their operations. But the United States sanctions far more than just traffickers. There are over 12,000 individuals and organizations under financial sanctions by the Treasury Department. And countries under some form of U.S. sanctions account for nearly 1/5 of global GDP. Sanctions don't just affect the target either. As more sanctions are imposed, all parties must consider the possibility that they or a trading partner will be sanctioned in the future. This incentivizes them to seek alternative currencies and payment systems to hedge against the risk, highlighting a central dilemma of sanctions. The more they are used, the less potent they become. Alternatives to dollar-based payment networks already exist. China launched the CSIS cross-border payment system in 2015, which has slowly boosted usage of the renminbi. These are just a few risks to dollar dominance. They may not seem like looming threats right now, but they introduce risk factors which may grow and compound over the next several decades. Fortunately, these are issues that the United States can address. The federal government can promote financial innovation through sound policy and investment, while exercising more discipline on spending and use of financial sanctions. But absent a concerted effort to address these sources of risk, the loss of dollar dominance could follow Hemingway's adage, gradually, then suddenly.